Hey everybody, welcome back to season 1, episode 2 of QSM TV. I had to mute my YouTube. Today we're going to be talking about transparency. Okay, we don't have much time. We're not going to go overboard like we did last week. So very quickly, I'm going to let everybody to introduce themselves. You guys already know Nathaniel, but he's going to come back on because he was on last week. And everybody introduce themselves, and then we're going to go right into topic.
You want me to reintroduce myself again?
Reintroduce yourself.
Well, I'm going to reintroduce myself to everyone. My name is Hove. No, I'm playing. It's Nathaniel Jaye. I'm a hairstylist out of North Carolina, freelance hairstylist, by the way. Yeah, I'm just your nephew, your homie, your cousin, all that. Ashley.
Hi guys, my name is Ashley Walker, aka Miss BU Do You, plus model, fashion blogger, and fashion editor for Queen Size Magazine.
What's going on? I'm Kavah King of the Gentleman's Curb, a lifestyle blog with style meets fitness in a big way. I was also of By Reason of Strength is my fitness page. I kind of launched into that. Your favorite fat boy. Thanks for having me, Queen Size Magazine.
Absolutely.
Hi everyone, I'm Nyemade Boiwu, or on social media, I'm the African Butterfly. I write, I do social media correspondent. I'm a lifestyle editor for Queen Size Magazine. So I'm always writing articles, sharing my opinion, and always ask me for my 2 cents. I have it ready to give. So I'm excited about being a part of this.
Welcome everybody. Okay, so let me just give you a really brief background on this topic. Nyemade, always get your name wrong. Did I say it right this time?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. Did an article in our August issue entitled How Real Do Influencers Have to Keep It? And it prompted me to add this topic to the lineup, because I felt, first of all, I felt like the article was too short. I felt like there was just so much more that we needed to discuss in that article, but I could have gave it a whole day magazine and it still wouldn't have been enough. So, we add this to our lineup and we're going to talk about transparency. I'll give some examples of my personal experience. You guys can give some examples of your personal experiences, but pretty much we're just going to be talking about, how transparent as a brand should you be, should you keep it? Should you be expected to keep it? How much of yourself are you expected to reveal to your followers? So first up, we're going to talk about your brand itself. Now, whether you are a model, whether you are a large corporation, you are still a brand. So as a brand, you create personal connections with your audience, regardless of what corner of the industry you fall in. You have to create that personal connection. So some examples, as matter of fact, I'll use you, Ashley, because I know that you recently started your health and wellness journey, we'll call it that. So, with your followers, are you expected to actually reveal your health and wellness journey? And it's really about expectations, not really what you want to offer up, but really expectations. So, if you decided that you did not want to broadcast your journey, and you come back 100 pounds lighter, and your audience is like, well, what happened to her? Are you expected to share that? You know what I mean? So another example, and I'll talk about one that Nyemade gave in her article, where she was talking about the beauty influencers, how they do their makeup tutorials and they show you how to kind of enhance certain imperfections that you may have. Now, if that beauty influencer decided that they were going to go and they were going to get like a nose job or something like that, are they expected to reveal that to their followers? Or are they keeping it real if they don't. You know what I mean? So those are some of the things that we're going to talk about. Like that's the first example. So I will ask you guys, in your personal experience, your individual fields, have you experienced this in your individual fields where, there's something that you may not have revealed to your followers, and, did you get any pushback from it?
I guess I'm up.
You up, huh? You up.
Gosh, I don't know if I've ever gotten any pushback. Because I work with women, because I'm a hairstylist, I have to, I feel like I don't want to be too critical. So sometimes I try to meet them halfway. You want to meet people halfway. You want to have that level of understanding. But there are some things that I don't understand that they go through because I've never been through it. I'm not a woman, but they share their stories. But I also share things with them sometimes. I think it builds a level of, it builds a relationship, a more organic relationship. I think when you're a little bit more realistic and you're a little bit more open and transparent. I do think that there is a time and a place to be transparent. I don't believe that you have to tell everything about you to everybody. Your story is just not for everybody to know. And I think you just have to be, when the vibe has fallen on you to share what you need to share, I think that's when the time is to share. Just like I had the opportunity to be interviewed by, let me see if I get her name right, Nyemade?
Nyemade.
Okay, I'm almost there. I'm gonna get it.
Okay.
So she interviewed me about growing up with a parent with mental health issues. And that was the first time I've ever really shared, I think, to a platform like that of what I went through growing up as a child. A lot of that, I just kept to myself. I just felt like it was such a dark place. But I felt like once I opened up and talked, believe it or not, so many people DM'd me and was like, wow, I didn't even know. Let me tell you about what I went through. I went through the same thing. And actually, both of my parents were mentally ill. And I'm like, wow. And it's like, it just opens up this whole new level of conversation of that we are really more alike than we are unalike. And I think that once you share that transparency, you realize that we basically have a lot more in common.
And I guess it's my turn. For me, I haven't experienced any pushback, so to speak. But of course, I was introduced and I have grown up, so to speak, in our plus size community. So of course, I'm presented and I'm expected to be a plus size woman. But the foundation of my brand, Miss BU Do You, is to encourage and empower people to be themselves and do exactly what they feel is best for them. So for me, I feel like just because me coming and being introduced in 2017 was one way, I feel like me 4 years later or in 2020, I may and could possibly look totally different. It's still me, but as part of my foundation, it's to love yourself, exactly where you are. Like be okay with wherever you are. And for myself, as being a person of influence or someone that I want to inspire other people, I want them to see my growth. I would expect to grow. You don't want the person that you're empowered by or inspired by to be the exact same way they were 4 years ago. And so as individuals, we can't determine what that journey looks like. We can't say because I was introduced as a plus size, model or introduced on a plus size platform that I'm going to remain the same size, with the same thing at the forefront of my platform. You know, you're going, as my followers, you're going to follow along with me in my journey and trust me as someone that you're inspired by. You're going to trust me to be doing and making the moves that are, you know, for me to be able to put my best self forward, whatever that may be. So, you know, also in my, my platform, I encourage authenticity, and I encourage you to genuinely, you know, be confident in who you are. It's okay for you to want to change things, but be confident where you are and appreciate the process. So as you mentioned about, you know, my fitness and my weight loss journey, I never said in my entire time of being in the forefront that, you know, you didn't have to be healthy, or you didn't, you know, you could be, you plus size is great, and you know, I'm confident and I feel beautiful and I love myself, but I don't want to be healthy. Like I've always, I think, encouraged people to be healthy, and there's just certain things that you're gonna do, or certain things that you're gonna see happen once you put certain things in motion. And so over my health journey, once, if I'm, you know, being disciplined and sticking to what I'm doing, if I happen to lose 100 pounds in the process, then I would hope that my followers would appreciate my journey and appreciate my process. And of course, we can't make everybody happy. So I'm probably along the way, if y'all, you know, once I continue on, and if y'all see a smaller version of Miss BU Do You, it's still me. I'm still gonna, you know, be pushing the same things I pushed before. I might be smaller, okay? I may not be, who knows, you know? I've always said, hey, I was made to be thick, okay? So anyway, I just, even though some people may fall off and may not be able to relate to me anymore, you know, and that's okay, that's perfectly fine. You may lose people along the way because they no longer feel like you fit them, and that's fine. I think that for me, I will regardless would like to remain authentic and genuine no matter what changes I encounter. So I haven't encountered any pushback at this up until this time, but if I do, I think I'm going to propel forward with that same, you know, that same basis that, hey, be you and do you. And if that means you need to lose 100 pounds, or you lose 100 pounds along the way, then appreciate that, and clap with me.
So before we go to Kavah, one of the things that I do want you guys to also answer in the question too is, do you think that you should be expected to reveal this journey that you were on that, you know, caused the change?
Okay. And for me, for my platform, of course, I feel like I do at times feel like I'm expected to. So if I go, you know, you're gonna see me along the way. So if I come, it's not gonna be me coming back and being 100 pounds lighter. You'll see that process. And I do feel like I need to share with you what I'm doing. You know, if I'm on a training program, because that's part of my platform in helping others, because you never know what's good for you, what's good for me may not be good for the next person, or you can pick up tools along the way. So we never, like we were talking the other day, you know, you never know what gems you're dropping that could be helpful to someone's situation. So whereas I do feel like we're expected to do, in all cases, do I feel like we have to? That kind of varies from situation to situation.
Gotcha. Hey, Kavah.
Hey, what's going on? First of all, Ashley, I want to applaud you on your journey, and I think it takes a lot of courage to actually put it out there, which is the reason why a lot of people don't put their health and fitness journey out there, especially being, you know, bigger people. We're ridiculed a lot. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, if we're out eating, you shouldn't be eating this. If we're working out, you know, you should be proud about who you are and not work out. But it's a really crazy thing when we're just trying to be healthy in our size. Like, I'm not trying to be a size, you know what I mean, 1X or you know what I mean, a regular large. I'm never going to be that size. I'm 324 pounds. It's just what it is. I think it depends on the discretion of the influencer or the person that's sharing. because not everyone's comfortable with sharing, sharing their demons, you know what I mean? Or sharing something that they're attacking. So you have to consider that too. And not everyone has the confidence. Like they say that when you're planning, being planted, you get planted in the dirt, and the dirt is dark. So a lot of things when you have to refine yourself is done in secret, right? So I don't think they're obligated to it. If you're a style blogger, then just show your style. If you're only doing beauty, then do beauty. Like, you're not obligated to it unless you choose to. But when you open that door, you have to be ready for everything that comes with it. Because everyone, like, let me tell you something. I started my fitness. I mean, I've been doing fitness, but I recently started my fitness page. You should see how many experts I get on my page about what I should be doing and this and the third. Even when I, like, regularly, you go to the gym and somebody outside always has a critique and opinion. So some people don't want that backlash. They want to be in their bubble, and they want to be able to, perform optimally. Like, they want to do the best that they can. So I think it depends on the person. Now, you don't have to share anything. You don't have to share anything. You can only share what your lane is. So if you're doing fashion, then by all means, share your style. Be a style blogger. If you're a beauty blogger, lifestyle, and do those things, you don't have to feel pressured to share anything else that you're not prepared to share. Unless you're like a mommy blog or something where you have to, share your children and stuff like that. Outside of that, I don't think you have to share. It's up to you. And if me as a viewer, if I see someone sharing, I think it's like a little icing on the cake. You know what I mean? But then when you put that icing out there, you gotta be ready for ridicule. That's how I see it.
Good answer.
Thank you, Kavah.
So I think that point that you make, Kavah, is huge. And I think it's important for people to realize, like, once you put it out there, especially in the times that we live in right now, people feel like if I can see it, then I have a right to have an opinion about it. And I'm going to tell you my opinion, whether you asked for it or not, even though no one asked and they should keep their mouth shut, but no one does that anymore. So I think it's really important to be aware that once you put something out there, you're inviting people to have opinions, and you can't even just say mind your business, because you put it out there. Like, you put it out there. I feel like once it's out there, then people assume that it's part of their business. As far as getting backlash, I haven't gotten like harsh backlash, but I did have a little bit of, I don't know, I guess a moment. So my social media journey is a little bit different, because I started my Instagram page as a weight loss accountability page. It was like 4 or 5 years ago. I just started Herbalife, and I wanted like accountability. So my page, if you go way back in the day, it was just me like working out and happy quotes and blah, blah, blah. And it was great. I lost 70 pounds, kept it off. It wasn't until I went through a major depression episode that I gained it all back. And therein, though, is part of the problem with being so transparent on social media, is that everyone was great and cheering me on. And then, like, as I started to gain my weight back, I was like, I can't go on there and be like, hey. So even on my thing, I'm like, slight social media break. I'll be back in a month. I didn't come back to Instagram for like 8 months, because it was just, and it almost made it worse because I knew people were watching, and I was like, but I do feel that the accountability of having people, like, if it is something you want some encouragement for, social media and transparency is great for that. And B, your journey helps other people's journey. So even me coming back out and being like, hey, guys, like, I was on top of it. I lost all this weight, and then I didn't move for like months and gained it all back, So I faced a little bit of backlash with that, only because I had lost the weight with Herbalife, and we were like, see, it's a scheme, it's blah, blah, blah. I'm like, first of all, I'm just sharing with you what I'm doing, what works for me. I'm not telling you you have to do it. And it does work, which is how I lost the weight and kept it off the longest I've ever kept off weight. But when I stopped working it stopped working, just like any diet. If you go like all natural and, no carbs or whatever, the minute you stop and you go back to your old ways and then also not moving, you're gonna gain it back. That's just how it works. So it's just interesting. And I feel that as far as people being transparent, and if you have to be transparent, it's really all about what you set your brand up to be. If you want to be, just hair and stuff, and you don't want people to focus on your private life, then your private life is your business. And again, we live in a nosy society, so people are going to poke at it and they're going to want to know, but it's still, that's your brand and that's what you're showing. But if you're a lifestyle brand, then it's a little bit harder to be like, well, I'm going to tell you this and not tell you that, and tell you this and not tell you that. you're still entitled to your rights and to your privacy, but it's a lot harder, especially if it's something that you've talked about previously, because now your audience, your followers, a lot of times, and I think we feel it too because we follow people, you feel a connection to them. You're like, that's my girl. Never spoke to her in my life, never talked to her. I only follow her online, but I'm like, that's my girl. Right. So they do feel that connection with you. So when major life events happen or when things change, yes, some of it is just nosiness, but some of it is them like genuinely actually caring and wanting to be part of that journey. Like you said, Nathaniel, you got all those DMs opening up about your mental health. And that's sort of what led me to be a big mental health advocate. Is it something I've always struggled with, always kept it under wraps. So I would look like I just got it all together. And then when I started talking about how I didn't have it all together, I was a hot mess, people were like, oh, me too. And then it became a conversation of people understanding what I'm going through. And then also me being able to inspire people with the way I'm able to get past feeling like a hot mess to look like I have it together and still push forward to keep going. So there's that level of inspiration people find from the transparency, but I don't think you have to be transparent unless you want to and unless it's something that has to do with your brand.
Tawana, I want to piggyback on what she was saying, because I did go through a time where I lost a lot of weight. I didn't put it on social media. It was nothing that I felt like I needed to share. It was just something that I personally was trying to do on my own. I feel as if though, just like what she said, when you put it out there, oh, I'm on this weight loss journey. And when you put the weight back on, you get this huge ridicule, like group of people who are judging you. I mean, I remember going into the store one time and a lady was like, oh, you put on a little bit of weight, ain't you? And I mean, instantly that makes you feel like, dang, do I look bad? It's like, did I look bad when I was bigger? And it's crazy. Like when you lose weight, people are like, oh, you don't need to get no smaller. I like you the way you was. But then when you was bigger, it's like you can't please everybody. So it's like they would slide in the DMs and be like, so did you get gastric bypass? Right. Did you get gastric bypass? I was like, no, I didn't get gastric bypass. I just went to the gym. They felt like I was hiding something. How did you lose all that weight the first time? I legitimately just went to the gym and worked out. I cut back what I was eating and it worked. It was like, let me test this out. You know how one thing is like you hear all these things like, oh, just cut back and exercise is food. Food is always the big thing. So I tried it and it worked. But I was miserable too because I was like, I like food. So it was kind of like a battle. But it's hard to share with the world. Like people automatically think that you're depressed because you put on weight. It don't mean that. It could mean that I'm just busy and I ain't got time for the gym. I got all these opportunities that I prayed for and God has manifested them. And guess what? The gym ain't on my list no more because I ain't pray about that. I prayed about other stuff. The other stuff is gonna come. So it's almost like damn if you do, damn if you don't. I feel like some people they feel entitled to know everything about you. And I don't think that they have that playground to do so. And when you don't share, it's like, oh, you acting funny. No, it's just not the time to share that. So, yeah.
See, here's the problem. The problem with that is, like Kavah said, once you open the door and you started, that's how you built your platform.
Right.
And these are what your followers are here for. Yes. It's like, my next question is then, how do you then draw the line between transparency and privacy?
Right.
And see, but see, the thing about it is people think because I'm a social person, I'm really not a social media person. Like, I'll post things, but I'm not really like, you know how people are always on their lives? I can't do that. I don't know what it is about. I cannot just go live by myself. I don't know. It's just, maybe I don't feel like my life is important to talk about, but I do feel like, it is kind of hard. It's like you playing Russian roulette with your information. Once you open a door, they want to know a little bit more. It's almost like a journalist. They're like, they keep nagging. So well, who were you dating before? And then, well, what happened to that relationship? I'm like, how do we get talking about that? We were talking about something totally different. They find ways of prying into your life, but you have to, it's almost, you have to find ways of segueing into something else without being rude, but just saying, oh, well, we're not going to talk about that. Maybe that's another day for another chapter.
Change the subject.
Yeah, let's just check. It's like, I feel like we going too deep into it. I'm going to save it for the book. I always tell people I'm saving it for the book.
Yes.
That's
and
my
not
favorite line.
Facebook.
I like that.
Ashley, how do you draw the line between transparency and privacy? Hey, everybody in the chat room, if you guys have questions, just type them out. I'll get to them. Thanks for joining. Thanks for listening to us.
I like to think that for me, I have to remember that this journey, I set on this journey by myself. You know, my family members, like, they didn't say, yeah, come on, let's do it. Like, so they were not, they didn't sign on for this public life. I still have parents that are completely like, if you put me on Facebook, I'm going to just scream, do not do. You know, I have people that have like criteria and protocol, you know, so I'm sometimes forced to have a little bit of privacy because of other people's views. Oh my gosh. Sorry.
Telephone.
I don't know how to stop that. Hold on. Anyway, so, you know, in that respect, I definitely respect the people around me that didn't sign up for my lifestyle. So in that respect, I'm not trying to be private, but I'm respecting other people's privacy. For me, ever since I first started this blogging, modeling journey, I think I've been pretty open, cataloging myself along the way, sharing, but to only things about my family members have I been a little bit more guarded with, because, you know, that's just including them on something that they didn't, even though that's a part of my life, that's something that they didn't sign up for. So that's really the only, you know, everything with myself, I don't really have anything. I'm not gonna say I don't have anything that's off limits. I haven't hit anything that's off limits, so to speak, because I try to continuously share. Like, I'm sharing something daily. I don't care if it's good, bad, or ugly. Like, even with, you know, we touched on this for a little bit, but even with my health and weight loss journey, people are asking me like almost daily, so what's gonna happen? Like, how much weight do you want to lose? Is that gonna be the end of your career, or you're no longer gonna be able to do plus size modeling? I'm like, hold on. First of all, I'm like a long way away from being kicked out of the plus size community. Okay, I've got several pounds before that happens. I am, you know, just aesthetically, I'm, you know, just from jump, my body frame and everything was not built to be small. Like, I'm short in stature, but I am curvy. Even with minus 100 pounds, I'm still going to be curvy. So I have to tell them constantly, like for the whole past week or so, they're like, oh, how much weight do you want to lose? Well, first of all, I went to the doctor. I'm completely healthy. So this is not a, you know, oh, I got high blood pressure, or I got diabetes or anything. Or I would share that, hey, you know, and that's one thing that's not off the books for me. If I found something that was wrong, that I needed to switch a lifestyle, I definitely would. But, you know, fortunately, by the grace of God, I'm completely healthy. I'm just overweight. Okay. You know, and so in 10 years, I may still be okay, but who knows if that extra weight, if I'm still going to be free from everything, I don't know. So this is the things I'm putting in place right now. I said, hey, I got a full workup check before my 36th birthday. I am, you know, healthy as a horse, so to speak. I'm just overweight. So let me start putting things in place to get some of this weight off. Yes, in the back of my mind, I'm like, hey, if I'm no longer a 18, 20 or a 14, 16, am I still going to be able to, you know, rock this designer or do this or do that? And then I just have to, I sit there for a second, and then I just say, hey, I'm going to do what allows me to put my best self forward, whatever that means. So if that means I got to come off, you know, if I start exercising more regularly, if I change my eating habits, if I stop drinking alcohol daily. Yes, I drink alcohol daily. Okay. I'm 7 days sober. Okay. Not alcoholic sober, but 7 days without sipping. So that's a lot.
Cheers, good for
That is
you.
a lot for me. Like, guys, that's my biggest weight issue. It's not food, it's not sweets. I'll sit there with you with a glass of anything while you eat, and I'll drink. No problem.
That
So
makes
that's my, that's what keeps pounds on me, and I'm aware of it and I know it. So who knows, just by not drinking alcohol and doing a few squats, I could come down. It's I'm willing to share that with people. If hey, now I'm a size 12 or I'm a size 10, I'm not, getting as much, love here or there. That's something that I'm open to. So for me, I don't have anything that's kind of off the table as of yet. I haven't found anything. So for my following, I'm pretty good with being, as transparent as I can be for myself as an individual, and just go with whatever backlash I get.
And it's therapy. Sometimes just being transparent and talking about what you're going through that day gets it off your chest. You don't understand how hard it is, especially these past few months sitting in a house by yourself. I'm single. I have no family here. It's rough sitting in a house by yourself sometimes, and you just listening to your own thoughts. Sometimes just having somebody to say, "This is what I'm going through." You'll be shocked what it can do for your mental. And as a man, most men don't really talk about what's going on inside of them, and we hold it all inside, and it results in anger, or we result it in other things. But I just feel like this is a great time where we need to talk about these things, about being transparent, because people need to be more transparent now, even more than ever. People have been holding on to things, and so, I mean, even though I feel like people are not entitled, I just feel like some people just need to say, "Listen, this is what the hell I'm going through. Whether you like it or not, I got to get this off my chest, and it's okay."
And it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. And I also, to say before you move on, is like, for me, I like to make certain changes part of my work. Like my health and weight loss journey, I'm working with an actual training team, and that's part of my influencing job. So it's like I try to incorporate what I'm doing, whatever the changes it are or whatever I'm putting into place, as a part of my work. And so then it feeds in automatically. And so it's not even a question as to, "Ooh, am I going to share this or am I going to share that?" Because I have to, because I've entered into a contract with somebody.
Got you.
Right. So I think that you can find a balance between transparency and privacy. You can tell someone that you went to the store but didn't tell them everything that you purchased, right? So I think that in that case, like, you can be transparent and let people know, well, what the things you're going through without the specific instances. You know what I mean? Like what it is and stuff like that, because not everyone is built for that. I know that for instance, like, I blog gentleman'scurb.com for those that don't know. And when I am the most expressive about when I'm going through my mental health and everything, I have the lowest ratings on those posts. I get the least likes on those posts. You know what I mean? So it's like it's a funny thing, because not everyone wants to, if they want to know about you, but you have to find a way to give them, like, give it to them in increments. You know what I mean? In small amounts. Not everyone wants to hear the whole story. You know what I mean? Because even now, like, certain Facebook statuses that we read, we skip over them. If it's more than 2 paragraphs, it's rare that you're gonna read the whole thing. Let's be honest. It's like, okay, I'm not reading all of that. You scroll up because the captions are super long. So you have to find the balance between transparency and privacy. You can still keep your love life and things like that separate, and you're transparent about, I'm going through a rough time. You don't have to tell everyone what the rough time is. You don't have to say, here's what I'm going through. I broke up with Shaquana and I'm just, going through it. You don't have to say, you can be like, listen, I'm going through a breakup, and that's what it is. And force people to respect that privacy,
Right.
So that's what it is.
Exactly.
I think that is a great way to put it. I'm going to piggyback off of that, which is that, you can be transparent and still have your privacy. You can let people know what's going on without them knowing what's going on. And like Nathaniel said earlier, People feel entitled, unfortunately. They feel entitled to know everything, and everything's not their business, as my mom used to tell me. Like, everything is not your business. And somewhere along the way with social media, I feel like people have forgotten that. I think that it depends on what that person is sharing. So like Nathaniel said, people were asking him about, when he lost all that weight. But is his page like a lifestyle page, or is this page about like his hair and his work and other stuff? And like, yeah, you see him and you might want to know, but that's not what he's talking about. So he doesn't need to disclose that. Now, I, who am on my Insta stories every 5 minutes, here's what I'm doing. If I just happen to leave out that I had this whole new fitness regimen in there, then it's like, oh, I'm trying to hide something. But if my page was just for a specific thing and I'm not talking about those other things, then I don't feel like you have to, or like you're forced to. Like Ashley mentioned, some people are lifestyle brands, and then you're sharing your whole life. And because you've opened that door to share your whole life, you do owe, I think, some level of letting people know what's going on without giving them the full detail. I always joke around and I always say I wish real people would give those, like, those breakup statements the celebs gives, like, we're going through a very difficult time, please respect our privacy. Like, I wish couples would do that in real life, because some people make you see all the pictures of their relationship, every, like, oh, look, he told me I was beautiful this morning. Oh, look, he brought me flowers. And then it's crickets. And I'm like, hello, you made me invested in this relationship. I would like to know what's happened. Like, just release a statement.
Like, we're in a relationship too. Like, let me know what's going on. You got flowers on Tuesday. Let me know. We got flowers on Tuesday.
Right? Like,
but why do people feel like they have to share everything about their relationship?
Well, they don't, but some people do, and I feel like if you do, that's fine. Like, I'm all for.
I guess, but I mean, when it comes to relationships, for me, I feel like if you see a picture, cool. But you are not going to see a picture of me and my lover every 5 minutes, every other day. I just feel like, why do I need to do that? It's like, am I proving something to the world? It's like, oh, bae got me this. Look what bae got me. And bae got this. And oh my God, me and bae going on vacation. I feel like, and then when you break up, you take all the pictures down, and then me.
We like, what happened? Nathaniel, what happened?
I ain't seen you in the room in a while.
Well,
what happened to our friend? What happened to our friend? What's going on?
Y'all took the words right out of my mouth, because I was gonna say, for me, one of the things that's off limits for me, and I feel like I'm very transparent, but one of the things that's off limits for me is my love life. Like, don't ask me about who I'm seeing. Like, don't. Okay, because I'm just gonna tell you none of your business. I'm not gonna be nice about it and just leave it like that. But I was going to talk about the people that get online and, like y'all said, and they post pictures of, their boo this, their boo that, and and we follow them. But it's like we're in a relationship too. And me and Phil talk about this often. And I said to him, I was like I feel like we invested in that relationship. Yeah. We had to go through that. When y'all was fighting, we were there. Yep. So bae just happened to disappear. Right.
We felt that.
Where is bae? You owe me an explanation.
But on the flip side, I do feel like this, and I know some people may not agree with me. I do feel like if you're at a level of importance, if you have this huge following, I do feel like if you're in a relationship, that does need to be established.
Why?
Because at some point, people get, a little comfortable, and they slide in the DMs and they want to take you out, and they think that you are this single individual, and they get a little bit too racy with it. You know what I'm saying? My thing is, some people don't care. Some people don't care, but I feel like if you had at least made this establishment, like, okay, I am taken, I am off. I mean, I'm not dead, but I'm off. I'm not dating no one else. I'm being monogamous.
You're not dead? Can you explain what you mean when you're not dead?
Right. Like, you're still getting,
when I say that I'm not dead, you still open the screenshots?
Okay, so what that means, let me say about when I say I ain't dead, meaning that I might be in a situation, I might be in an entanglement.
Entanglement.
Hey,
here we go.
Words, okay.
But that don't mean that I don't smell other food. food. I might be eating beef, but I don't mean that I don't smell the chicken cooking.
You don't smell the fried chicken. I got you. I feel
smell
you.
that fried chicken. That fried chicken smell good, and I remember what it tastes like. But I'm sticking to my little shrimp.
Right. And did they soak the chicken in buttermilk?
You know what?
That's what makes it even worse, because they want to let you know that they're gonna slide in your DMs, but you know their chicken has been marinated in buttermilk. But I'm letting them know that I got a shrimp, and I don't want no buttermilk right now.
So I was gonna add to the whole thing about privacy that I think something that you mentioned, Nathaniel, with couples putting all their business out there. I think that social media is what you make of it. And I'm all for people sharing whatever they want to share of. There's a lot of things that I see and I'm like, couldn't be me, but do you. And on some level though, I think that you need the extremes of things. Like I was having a conversation with someone the other day about how some people are like so overtly sexually explicit, blah, blah, blah. And like, why can't they keep them to themselves? But I feel like you need those people in society so that way the people who are like that on the DL behind closed doors still have like an example or still have stuff to see. Like maybe they're not following and liking, but they're peeping, they're looking like, oh, so you know what I mean? Like you need those people who put their stuff out there, even like the relationships, like, oh, there they go with whatever activity they're doing now. But then you're like, but that would be a cute date idea. Maybe I should write that down.
Right.
So
That's
I think that like
that's
having them and I do think some of it though is just for clout because they just want attention. That's fine. I'll still take your date ideas. So like,
that's another thing too.
To like put that out there. And I think that also when you think about your privacy and what you're putting out there, it's important to know what your brand is. And I think a lot, especially now,
Right.
I think some people think about it and some people don't. But knowing what your brand is and what you want to be known for will help you figure out what you want to put out there. And especially now with like Instagram, you can see your analytics. So like I know which of my pictures get the most response and get the most comments and get the most engagement. So if my goal was just to have a ton of followers and to be known, I would just keep putting out that particular content. It's very easy to do. People charge hundreds of dollars. There's the golden secret for anyone watching. You look at your insights, see what people are engaging in the most, and you put more of that out there. However, that's not necessarily what I want to be known for. That's not what I feel like where I want my area of impact to be. For me, it's when I talk about like social justice issues, racial issues, mental health issues, body positivity. So yeah, those posts when I write my long novel about how I'm thinking and feeling and my thoughts on this issue, they don't get as much engagement as my other posts.
That's a whole fact.
They do get some engagement, and because I know that's what I want, why am I going? I hate when influencers flip the script on their followers. Don't pull me in with your funny memes and then flip the scripts, change up your whole page to being a personal page. I never cared about your life. I was following you for the memes. I hate when they do that. So you shouldn't do that to other people either. Like, don't start being like, oh, well, I get a ton of likes when I have all these pictures with like, you know, cute outfits or full bodies, even though I know that's not what I want to post about. Let me get them all in. And once they're in, now I'm going to flip and talk about important stuff. Like, no.
Right.
Build your, for me, I think of my social media world, my followers as a community. They say your vibe attracts your tribe. My tribe is a slow building tribe, but we're building. But I like it because I know that it's people who are engaged in the things that I care about, not just because they want to see like I wore a cute skirt. Yeah, I'll post because I wore a cute skirt and I love fashion. I love changing up my hair, but that's not the core of what, like, that's not what I want to come into mind when people think about me. I want them to think about great writing or the great things I'm an advocate for. So that's going to be a slower build, but I know that's what I want. So I think people, when they think about transparency and privacy, need to think about that too. Like, what message are you putting out there? Like, what do you want people to think of when they think of you? And then go forth. It might be slow, but that's what you're gonna get.
But I agree with what she's saying, because I feel like sometimes as a hairstylist, I look at certain hairstylists and they'll have like 21.7K followers, and compared to my little 4,000 or 5,000. But I feel I'm excited about that because I know those followers are organic. Those are not people that I tricked into following me. I didn't have to pay them. I didn't have to tell them to follow me. you know, these people are engaging and they're there because they like whatever I'm posting. I don't post drama. And I think when you do start posting drama, they reshare the drama and then you attract other dramatic people. Yes. And then it changes your whole platform around.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to be careful about what you, it's like some stuff I'll be wanting to repost and I'm like, I hit the delete button, but that's maturity. Because there's many times I done hit the delete button. I'm like, man, no, I ain't even gonna go there because it's gonna open up a whole nother can of worms. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like we have to be careful, even as influencers, about how we say things too, because then it's always gonna be read wrong. Well, what did he mean by that? Or what did she mean by that?
Reading too much into it.
You're reading too much into it. It has nothing to do with A or B. It's just a statement. It had nothing to do with you. I wasn't thinking about nobody in particular because that's the first thing they want to say. Ooh, who you talking about? Tell me who it is. I'm not talking about nobody. It was just a thought that came to my mind. And I thought to share it. But people messy. And that's why you got to be careful about, that's the only thing about social media that bothers me is that people are messy and they look for drama. Social media itself is not harmful, it's the people. So you have to be careful about your tribe. And if those
drama spreads, drama is a wildfire.
Exactly.
You get way more people faster with drama than you do with positivity, and it's unfortunate.
People need to learn how to use the block button. Use the block button. If these people,
honey, if you see my block list, ooh, I got that damn bag.
Let it go. I keep telling people, I don't know why you argue with people about your life. Don't argue, just let it go, block it, move on.
Okay, bye-bye. So this next comment, I'm going to read this next comment right after, because this actually is going to take me into my next question, right? Mm-hmm. So, and I know that as an industry, we talk about this a lot, but, you know, I'm going to throw it in there. What are your personal thoughts on personal versus private pages, right? So, for me, I'm all for the separating of pages, the business page with the personal page, right? So, you know, in the name of being transparent, I'm going to say this. I have, you know, my personal page, which has become my everything page, and I have my business page. So, Tawana Blassingame, Queen Size Magazine, right? One was supposed to be business, one was supposed to be personal. But, you know, those algorithms, you know, they kind of change things for me. You know, I get more attention on the Tawana Blassingame page than I do on, you know, the Queen Size Magazine page. So I tend to post a lot of stuff there. And sometimes I have to check myself or, you know, sometimes I get checked on the things that I post because sometimes, you know, I get in my feelings. And I know a lot of us do this. We get in our feelings and, you know, it's just like, you know, we just start posting. And then, you know, like Nathaniel said, there are some things that I post, a lot of things that I post, a lot are, you know, just a FYI, kind of a reminder, which may come off as a rant, but it's like a reminder to me and other people, you know, to think about certain things, to do certain things, to not do certain things. But, you know, dramatic people will read it and be like, oh, what is wrong with her today? You know, but it's never like that. Mm-hmm. So my question is, how do you guys feel about the business versus the person's page? And do you put restraints on what you post on each of them?
Yes.
Absolutely.
So I have.
Wait, before you answer that, I'm gonna read this comment, right? Because y'all might want to comment on this as well. So sometimes you have to know where to draw the line personally, and if the personal stuff doesn't have an effect on your business, then it shouldn't be spoken on. Yeah, come on now.
Well, so here's the thing. I had an Instagram when I was in college. I had Facebook when I was in college before the everyday people were allowed to get on Facebook. I had Facebook for college students.
when we were on MySpace, right? Right.
Y'all was on MySpace. We was over here on the college ground. Yeah. So there is a level of maturity that has happened. So I remember going to a conference and the gentleman said, well, what is your Instagram? And I gave it to him. He said, well, why is it private? And I said, well, I mean, that's my page. I don't want everybody. He was like, well, how can I see your work? How can I get to know to hire you? What is your brand about? So that raised a flag for me, like, okay, I need to separate this personal life and this brand. And that was where the Nathaniel Jaye brand began. And even though I have the personal page, there's nothing crazy on there. But I mean, I can post those memes and I can say little stuff in the stories now. I might even do a little video, and I can get a little loose and lax with it. I might even post something when I'm out, you know, having a good time at a gathering, or I might have a cocktail in my hand. I feel like on the business page, I don't really like to show pictures with cocktails in my hand. I mean, I'm not ashamed about it. We all know that I like a little tequila. I mean, we keeping it real. But I mean, every now and then I do a little peekaboo, you know, and then take it down. But I mean, at the end of the day, I just feel like we need to keep the content professional and personal, and we separate it, because then that's when it starts opening up doors for other things. And honestly, I actually follow some of the same people on both pages, but they know. I even have clients who know when to send me stuff. They'll send me funny stuff on the personal page versus on the business page. They might send me something business related on the business page. And I say, see, they get it. Ding, 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 ding. We know how we have that degree of separation. But even in the personal life, we still have to make sure that what we do over there reflects our business side too. So we always wearing our brand. So we always have to make sure that we're leveled up on both ends. Even though we're having a little fun over here, we making money over here, we still have to make sure that we're balanced on both ends.
Let me just remind y'all of something, okay? Because it's almost 8:30. I know what I said. So after this, we're gonna touch on one more topic, okay? Because I know what I said.
It was so much fun. Okay, so kind of like to piggyback off of what Nathaniel said at the end, I am a firm believer of once you become a business or a brand, there is no separation. That's how I believe. That's how I feel. Because at the end of the day, you know, your social media platforms, Google, everything, everybody, that's the first thing they're going to check. And what we do know is what we put out there, even 5 or 10 years ago, can still be pulled up, right? So for me, when I first established my blog, my website, I was on Facebook. I was on MySpace. I was on Facebook in 2008, 2009, before any thought of you know, Miss BU Do You or anything like that. And I just, in 2017, I made the decision that there wasn't going to be a difference between my personal and my private. I don't have 2 Instagrams. I don't have, well, I have multiple Instagrams, but it's for different things like my production or whatever. I don't have 2 Facebooks. I do have my model page. And then I have Ashley Walker, but they're all intertwined. I even have programs where I'm sharing across all the same posts across all social platforms, because in 2017, I became my brand. So I don't say that over here on Ashley Walker, I'm going to talk, you know, how I felt yesterday or who I like and don't like, or, you know, about politics or whatever. And then over here, I'm going to do this, because they all are like an interweaved web. And if you're going out for a job or a client, they're going to search you no matter what. I don't care if you present Ashley Walker. I don't care if you present AJ Michelle. I don't care if you present Miss BU Do You. If you say, well, this is who I am, well, guess what? They're going to search everything. So it all matters and ties in between. That's just my personal belief. So, and then I do have more than one career. Everybody, well, a lot of people that may not know, but I am a teacher as well. So me and my father had a long conversation last night, because even though I've modeled for almost 4 years now, he just decided to ask me, what type of modeling do I do? And I was like, and see, I have the two parents that are they're more conservative, and they were not big on following your dreams and the arts and things like that. They're very gung-ho on, you better have a career that's gonna you better go to school, get a real degree, do this, do that. That's how they were brought up, and that's how they try to make me, do things. And so they didn't buy in to my modeling. They didn't buy into my brand for like the first 3 years I was doing this, right? I'm traveling everywhere. I'm doing whatever. My mom would literally roll her eyes at me and be like, so where are you going now? Or when are you going to be back? Or, it would be some serious tension about my decision to put my all into this part of, this brand and this career. And nobody could see how I could manage all the hats. Like, I'm still an amazing teacher, but I'm also still very invested in this career as well. And people are like, well, how can you do both? Because you have a code of ethics. My dad asked me specifically last night, well, what do you model? Do you have anything nude or semi-nude? Or no, can I just be sitting somewhere and I pick up a magazine and I see my child, with no clothes on or whatever? And I'm like, first of all, Dad, I've been doing this since 2017. You're a little late to be asking me if my butt is out somewhere, okay? But I can appreciate that generation and how they feel. And I also can appreciate my career, my career as an educator, and that I have a contract, and that there's a code of ethics. There is an expectation set by society on, oh, you're a teacher. You shouldn't be on a runway in lingerie. You shouldn't be modeling that, or you shouldn't be doing that. That's society. But for me, all of it is the same. And I stay true and genuine to the way that I feel. And so if I say that I'm Miss B, I'm Ashley Walker, I'm a teacher, I'm a mom, but I'm Miss B, you do you as well. And so, yeah, you may see this teacher on a runway in lingerie, but I'm open and upfront about it. And so my principal knows what I do. We're actually friends outside of work. Nobody's come to me yet to say, hey, either you got to choose to be a teacher or a model. And so I guess I'll cross that bridge when I get there, but I'm a firm believer that it's all intertwined. There's no separation because they can see everything if they want to look hard enough.
Gotcha.
I see things a little bit differently. I do believe that you're one person. You're the same person. I'm an individual that I like to laugh. I like to have fun. And a lot of things that I find funny or I laugh at aren't in line with general brand. You know what I mean? Because that's what'll mess you up too, because you'll be putting yourself in a space where you're thinking as a brand or what brands would like you, and it'll stifle you. It'll put you in the corner because you're freezing like, well, should I do this? Should I do that? What would the brand do? But I understand the perspective about being professional because I like to joke and have fun, and I have multiple Instagram pages. But my blog page, where I send to brands to represent myself, it is very, very professional, right? It's not a lot of the nonsense and jokes and trolling that I do on my personal page. You know what I mean? So I guess if brands want to say, well, this is how he is, this is who this person is, I guess they could. But when it's time to represent them or we do business, their products don't reach the other page where they may feel uncomfortable to say, well, we don't want this particular gentleman representing our clothes or our brand. So I feel like you can be yourself, but you have to make a separation. Like, you're not gonna, you don't act the same way in front of your mother as you do your friends. You know what I'm saying? And not saying that the brand is in fact apparent, but I'm just showing that you're still the same person, but you either turn it down, you tone it down when you're in front of people or at work, but when you're with your friends, you turn up. And I think that's where I'm at with it, where I have, a few pages, because I started my page way before I started blogging. And some of the stuff on there is nuts. Like, I'm not going to sit here and deny it. It's out of pocket because I like to troll and have fun and crack jokes and not be disrespectful of anyone's, religion or anything of that nature. You know what I mean? The moral stuff. But outside of that, I like to have fun. But I do think that there has to be a separation when it comes to your brand. You know what I mean? Like you have to, there's no other way around it. Like you have to be professional. You have to show yourself up. You have to show up for work. And when it's time to play, play. Simple as that.
I agree.
I agree too.
So my opinion is actually in the middle of both of those opinions. I do think that if you have a business where you maybe are, I keep using your example, Nathaniel, just because it's easier. So you do hair and you have to get clients and things like that. In that case, I can understand having a professional page and having a private page where it's just you kikiing with your peeps. I got it. I do think though, however, we live like the way we are now, like Ashley said, everyone is still going to search for your private stuff anyways. So unless you really have it on lock, make sure the stuff that you have is still appropriate to your brand, because that's how everyone thinks of it now. Like even CEOs of large corporations, the corporation is being held to the standard and the accountabilities of what the CEO said. So even if you have it separate, it still counts and it still will be looked into. That being said, I also feel like there's a group of people where their brand is their business, where there's literally no separation of state. I feel like I'm sort of in that boat. I do have things, you know, that I mentioned that I advocate for and that I try to raise awareness about. But I still, my brand is me. There's no real separation. So, I mean, I keep things, I'm probably a little more serious on my Instagram page, but I wild out in my stories. Like earlier today, I just treated my Insta followers to dramatic singing of a musical song I love. So like you get both sides of me depending on what social media platform. And that's the other thing. There are some people who post the same thing across all their social media platforms. And there are some people who post different things across different because they want followers to follow them on all. So like for me, depending on where you follow me, it might change the side of me that you get. It's still all me. It's just like on Twitter, you're going to hear me trash talking about reality TV shows. And on TikToks, you're going to see me like lip syncing to crazy stuff. On my Facebook, you're going to hear, you know, those 3-4 paragraph long posts that Nathaniel mentioned. That's me right here, telling you why I feel strongly about whatever I feel and what my thoughts and feelings are. But it's still all me because I am my brand. And if that, I feel like if someone knows, like if you're watching this and you have a business that you want to be separate from you, that's fine. Do the separate pages. But if you know that you want your brand to be your business, be you from jump. Don't try to be the version of you that you think people want. It's kind of like what I was mentioning earlier. I know which post gets the most followings or gets the most likes, but I also know which posts are what I want and what I feel. So be yourself, because there's always going to be people who want to link up with you, follow you, feel what you feel, think what you feel. And you don't want to box yourself into being a certain person with a certain persona. And then now it's years down the road and you're stuck being that person because that's not who you ever wanted to be, but your brand is your business. And there are some brands where people have great followings because they're like so sweet and so wonderful and happy and like loving life. And they're just
are they really sweet though?
Right. But I mean, that's their brand. Allegedly, that's their brand. And that's fine. That's who they are. Allegedly, that's fine. And then there's also people like I follow like Bretman Rock. Like he does pot, he curses like a sailor, he does all these crazy things, millions of followers, has a deal with Nike, has like a makeup line with Elf. So people understand now, brands understand now that people want people. So be you, because while let's say him, like, so let's say because he smokes, it's illegal in some areas. While someone who has a professional sport athlete might be dumped by Nike because they smoke marijuana and it's illegal, this other person who's an influencer who's built his brand saying, this is me, he now has a contract with them doing the same exact thing because he is his brand and his brand is what got that following. Right. So if you are building yourself up where you are your brand, just be authentic. Because people can sense when you're not and they don't like it. think we all can sense when people, like the first thing after I said when people are super sweet, Nathaniel was like, are they really? Because we can tell when you're not. Right. So be authentic, be you. And if your brand is you, just build it up. It might be slower than what other people are doing, but in the long run, it's more sustainable.
But I also feel like certain people get the platform more to be themselves than other people. I think sometimes the world has this idea of who you are and they try to box you in it. Is because I mean,
so whose job is that to get out of the box? Is that
exactly?
I know people have an idea of me versus who I actually am.
I agree.
Right.
I agree, because there are other hairstylists who I know who, I mean, they're rolling up a blunt on live, they're cussing, they're laying people out. And I mean, there are legitimately celebrities liking and laughing and people are working with them.
Right.
And I think to myself, if I did something like that, I feel like I'd be criticized.
Right.
Well, you would probably be criticized by a certain group of people. And it's kind of like what Ashley was saying also with when you lose weight, you're going to lose some followers because some people are with you and they combine their confidence with you having confidence at being plus size. So if you lose weight, now you're not that level of confidence for them anymore and they're out the door. But guess what? For the 50 people you lose, you'll gain 100 people who are proud of your journey, who are proud of the way that you went, who want to encourage you. So it's the same thing with you, Nathaniel. Yeah, if you suddenly started becoming like wild and out and now you're Nate Dogg, you're probably going to lose a bunch of people who are like, what happened?
You almost knocked my computer off the table.
You're going to lose a bunch
Nate
of people,
Dogg.
but you'll also gain a bunch of people who will now want to follow you in your new whatever you got going.
Right, because your audience is taking a shift. And I think throughout all of our careers, our audience is constantly shifting.
Yes.
Because we're constantly evolving, and there's nothing wrong with that. So we're not going to get to the other topics, but I do want to read a couple of questions from the chat room, and you guys can answer it quick, fast, and then because I know what I said. I know what I said, okay? But let me just, I'm gonna tell you how it is, right? For me, as a brand, Queen Size Magazine is my brand, right? But I had to grow into that brand because I've always been who I am, right? But I've made some shifts along the way because none of y'all know me before Queen Size Magazine, okay? I was completely different. I was way more vocal, okay, than I am now.
Yeah.
On things that if I felt
Wait a minute.
If I felt it, I would tell you.
More vocal?
Than what you are already?
Yes, honey, yes. Yes.
You was reading people up and down.
You know what? I was. I'm receiving y'all shade. I feel it. Feel the shade. But yeah, I was a lot different. And so I also used to have a radio show, right? So I was a radio host, and I had that radio host personality, right? Which did not always reflect how I felt. I was playing the part. So, a lot of those things had to go away when I made the shift to go into to start Queen Size Magazine, because people didn't need to know that sort about me. And so when I decided to do Queen Size Magazine, all my previous posts went away. All those gotta go. They gotta go. Y'all can't know that part about me, okay? But for people who know me personally, will say, "Well, damn, you changed." Yeah, a little bit. I grew into a more of a professional person because I ain't there yet. Okay?
I need to hear some playbacks.
You won't find them because for that you won't find them. Trust me. I didn't do the show under my name. No.
Look, let me get to searching. Like I told y'all, it all is an interweaved web.
Right.
I'm gonna find them.
So this is one of the reasons why I've always wanted to come back to do a radio, and I was always vocal about that. You guys have seen it on the page. I want to go back to doing radio. So this was a little bit different for me because on the radio, people know what you look like, Here, they see your face and you have to smile all the damn time. But here's the first question, right? If you were going to receive a multi-million-dollar sponsorship would you be comfortable letting the company see your social media page, which should be representing your business?
Would you be comfortable letting them see what?
Your social media pages.
Oh, I mean,
So
in this day and age, don't they have to? I mean, most of the time, if you're getting a multi-million-dollar endorsement, they want to know what you're posting on social media. They want to know your engagement numbers.
They want to know your blood type. They want to know your social
How many
security
men are
number.
if they any good, they'll find it, right?
And actually,
Yeah.
and actually, believe it or not, a lot of these companies have people in their social media department who are spies.
Yeah.
They don't even, you don't even know that these people are even working for the company. They're already on your page, looking, seeing how you're engaging with people.
Some of them are friends with you, right?
Yeah. With them, and you don't even know.
Yeah.
So the question is, are you comfortable with it?
Yes, I am.
I'm
feel like
absolutely comfortable with it.
Yeah.
With what you're currently putting out, yeah.
What I'm currently what I've posted on my page, I feel confident for them to see it. It's open. It's not private. Sure, go ahead, have at it. I've made it to that level of sure. This is why the page is here. The page is here for you to see the brand, for you to see the matriculation, you know. And if you like what you see, sure, let's make this deal. Come on.
I think it's different because we all have personalities where our personalities are part of our brand, even if it's just for fitness or just the magazine. Like our personalities are all still part of our brand and part of what we put out there. So we kind of expect that, versus if it was like you were talking to someone who only had a store page and they weren't part of it, and then asking to see their personal page, it might be a little different.
I'm completely comfortable because it kind of ties into what I said earlier in 2017. Not that I'm some perfect person. You just get to see on a regular all of me, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I've kind of got into a mode to where that is all me, and so there's nothing that I wouldn't be comfortable with anybody seeing. And so I feel like they get the best authentic, you know, the best perception of me, because what you see is what you get on a daily basis.
Now, final question. Okay. On the flip side of that, okay, we are all brands, right? And I'm sure we've all had to connect with people that we wanted to work with, you know, regardless of what level they are on, right? You have been on the other side of having to research people to see. You know where I'm going with this, Ashley. That's why you smell it. We've all been on that other end, having to research people to see if it's, you know, somebody that aligns with our brand. And I'm pretty sure all of you have experience where you've gone on people's pages and was like, no, thank you. So, you know, with that level of transparency and everything that we have talked about, you know, would it make that individual wrong or just wrong for you?
I'll pick
Go
that
ahead,
up.
Ashley. Ashley, I want you to attack that first. Go ahead.
Okay.
Gonna go ahead and say it's gonna make the person wrong for me, not wrong. And that's just because I stand by and I support being you and doing you, and that you may not be right for everybody, but you're right for somebody. Right. And it kind of ties into when we talked about earlier about, you know, the person with the campaign who smokes illegal marijuana and all that. It's like everybody is going to have their lane, and you're going to have those 50 followers that you lose based upon who you are. So if I need to look into you, I'm like, no, that doesn't really align with what, you know, my vision or my brand or where I'm going with this project. But hey, I could have a project a year from now and that person be absolutely dope and correct because I'm going for something outside of the box, or, you know, depending on what I'm trying to relay or get over to, you know, whatever my intentions are. So I definitely would probably say maybe they're not for me right now, but I'd be very careful in how I, you know, address them or approach them, especially if we've already engaged in something, because you never know when you may have to revisit that person. So that's always important, is how you leave that, no matter what.
Mhm.
I feel like
I-
people,
I-
I'm gonna say something before you say that, Kavah, right? Because I feel like a lot of people, and I'm gonna target this industry because this is the industry that I work with, so I can speak from experience. I feel like a lot of people want to align themselves with people because they are popular and not necessarily right for their brand.
Preach.
Which is one of the reasons why I asked that question. You know, Kavah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone particular is wrong, right? Because there's something what may be enjoyable for you is not enjoyable for me. That doesn't make it not enjoyable. I just think that everything doesn't fit. And it's
Right.
perfectly fine not to fit with something. Like I always say when people want to collaborate, I say if it fits, because it may not fit. It doesn't mean that what you're doing, I'm sorry. It doesn't mean that what you're doing isn't amazing, that you're not doing amazing work in your respective area. It just doesn't fit. Like everyone's not gonna, even though we're all in the same industry and we have kumbaya moments, everybody's not gonna link on everything. We all don't have the same vision. And it's okay to say, all right, cool, I can respect what you're doing. I love what you're doing, but it doesn't fit me.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. And once you have that in mind, it's a whole lot simpler to say, hey, listen, this doesn't fit me.
Right.
Because it's okay. Like even when you meet people that are interested in you in a dating scene, you'll be like, hey, what's up? And like, you're a great person, but it just doesn't fit for me. Same thing with a brand. Your brand is who you are, who you represent. If it doesn't fit your brand, it doesn't fit your brand, and it's okay. Like nobody loses that way. Just be transparent with it and be honest. Like, hey, listen, I don't think it fits. You don't have to be nasty. Like, oh, hell no, I'm never working with you, mother. It doesn't have to be that way. You can just be like, oh, it doesn't fit for the direction I'm going in.
And I think a lot of people take that personal too.
Yeah.
But because you know why? Because our brands and ourselves are intertwined. So it's viewed as rejection. No one likes to be rejected.
Right.
It's like you pitching all these brands, and these brands are saying, no, we don't want to fool with you. Right. You have to eat that L. So you take it personally because you are the brand. And that's why I was saying I have to make a distinction, because if you don't have a strong foundation, this industry is not for the weak. You being a model or influencer is not for the weak, because you're presenting your best version. I'm getting my locks twisted. I'm going to the barber. I'm putting the teeth whitening on. I get my manicure and pedicure for you to tell me no.
Right.
Like what? What do you mean? You see what I did? I'm Kavah, baby. What you talking about? But it just doesn't fit. Right. And I have to be of the mind and say, you know what? I didn't fit what they were trying to represent. It doesn't take anything away from me. Once you have that in your mind, you'll be able to sleep better at night, because everything isn't for you.
Right.
That's it.
And I mean, honestly, I have to. That is so real what he just said, because I felt like I was in this bubble of trying to make Nathaniel Jaye who I felt like was going to be what people wanted to work with. Mm-hmm. There are so many people who I wanted to work with. And there were even times where I was like, well, why don't they ask me to speak on the panel? Or why they don't want to work with me? Am I too loud? Or have they heard something about me? And then it's all in my head. Like, do I come off like I'm a bad person? And it's like, and I hate that, because we're in this industry where we feel like we're always being judged. Right. And if they don't want to work with you, it must be something about you that must not be good. And I'm like, well, what is it? I feel like I'm cleaning up everything that I could, but then I just had to realize, as my grandmother always said, it just wasn't for you at the time. Every no doesn't mean never, and maybe
right.
God is orchestrating something in that person's life so that it will fit for you in your life. Maybe you're just not ready for these two people to work together. Like, collaborations need to be equally yoked. I've worked with people who I've seen things. I said, oh, this ain't working. Y'all not working together too well. Y'all wanted to work together because y'all names were so big.
Correct.
And you thought it was going to be an explosion, but you didn't realize that your personalities weren't going to mix. See, that's why I really feel like even in this industry, we don't take the time out to really get to know each other. We see things on social media, but we never get the time to say, what's up, brother? Or what's up, sister? Let's have a conversation just to see if we on that level. Because there are people who slide in my DMs all the time and say, oh, I want to collaborate with you. And I don't know. I just get like scared. Like, I don't know if I want to work with that person. Like, you look at their brand and you're like, well, maybe they're really not a bad person, it just, maybe they're just not presenting themselves that way. You know what I'm saying? It's like, do I want to give them a chance? And if I do give them a chance and work with them and it doesn't work out, it makes your brand look bad. So
Right.
it's like, you have to pray about some things. You really have to use that spirit of discernment when it comes to working with people.
Right.
I think that it's important, like Ashley said, that not everything is for everyone. Actually, either Ashley or Kavah said that. Because that's the truth. And it's something, I know I sound like a parrot repeating myself, but you know, you really just have to stick to being you and being authentically you, and the right people will be attracted to you. You know, do you, boo. That's what I always say. And actually recently when I was looking up profiles for the article for September's men issue, article, Big Men, Big Voices, check it out. I had to go through a bunch of different profiles to find the right men who I thought I could, you know, ask those questions and engage with. And there were some where I was like, oh no. But that doesn't mean they were a bad person. I just knew that we weren't going to put them in queen size. It wasn't a great fit. And that's going to happen. And, you know, like Nathaniel said, you're going to take it personally because it's rejection, and nobody likes rejection. But I think people also need to be aware of who they're trying to collaborate with as well, and be like, know yourself before you throw out a collaboration. You know, earlier you asked, like, you know, if you did something out of pocket, then people would be like, oh, that's not you, because you create your social persona. Right. Be aware of the social persona you've created for yourself, and don't try to launch or partner with someone that doesn't fit that vision, because it's not going to work. Like, if you are wilding out and having fun, that's wonderful. Don't try to be the sponsor for Christian Mingle. Like, it's probably, the two probably aren't going to fit with each other, you know? So like, just know what you're putting out there and research brands that work with what you want. Or vice versa. If you know in your heart and soul you want a particular brand and you want a particular thing, then work and do what you need to do to fit the mold of what you know they're looking for. Don't get mad at them for not wanting you if you know that they have a mold. Fit their mold, or choose to break it, not fit their mold. Hope it works out, but be okay and be aware that it might not work out.
Right.
But sometimes people don't ask the questions either. If you want to work, if you want to work with someone, ask them the question: what are you looking for in an individual who collaborate with them?
What do you have in mind? People don't ask that. What do you have in mind? What is your vision? What is your projection? What is the goal? Like, we don't, a lot of us don't ask that. We just like, I don't want to say no because it's gonna, you know, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings and da. But people will hurt your feelings quick. Like, I get looked over for so much, and I'm okay with it because I know what's for me and what ain't for me, boo. Like, it's just what it is.
But when you look back at all the doors that were closed, you have to thank God for the unanswered prayers.
Yes.
Because sometimes you realize that either you were underprepared or you were overprepared for the opportunity. And you don't see it at the time, but God will reveal those things later on, that just wasn't for you. And he had something else totally in line for you. And sometimes we just have to be still. We have to be focused, stay in our lane, mind our business,
and keep working.
Right.
That's right.
Sometimes there's a better opportunity waiting for you after. That always happened to me. When I feel like I'm rejected, I used to get upset. I don't really get upset anymore. I feel like as long as you do your part, right? You can't just hope, wish, and dream for your dreams to come true. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So you do have to be prepared, and you do have to do your part. But after that, if you've done everything on your part and it's still not working, that's probably because it's not for you. And a lot of times, if you sit and you wait, like Nathaniel said, God will open that opportunity in the door into something that's usually even better for you.
Right.
Do the work, but also, you know, understand rejection is sometimes a good thing.
Right.
We always get caught up. I think a lot of the times we get caught up into this wave of, you know, let's go against the grain. Let's make ourselves fit into somebody's box that may not be, you know, that may not be their view of or their intention. But we as a society right now, we're in such a climate of, you know, we're going to force our views, we're going to force our, you know, our differences, we're going to force this and force that, sometimes we forget to appreciate what is authentic about ourselves. We get forced to try to, build ourselves in some other version in order to get that gig or get that collaboration or get that campaign. And just like you said, not be able to sit still, be true to ourselves, keep working, keep doing what we're doing until the right opportunity and the right thing that we fit with comes along. And we gotta, work hard not to get caught up in that on that hamster wheel of, I'm, this, I'm that, and I'm gonna push this or force this on that. Well, that may not be their direction, and be okay with that.
Stop trying to force opportunity that was not ordained for you.
Right.
If you focus too much on other things, you miss the opportunity that was orchestrated for you. So and I learned my lesson. I've learned my lesson, because
I learned
you gotta stop taking them tails that don't want you to take.
I learned that being short all the time. Know when to fight your battles, know when to push, petite plus, and know when to sit back, because that campaign may be coming. Oh, you need to embrace models. Stop doing the height. Stop doing this. Stop doing that. Hey, it's cool. That time will come. That, and you never know. You may be the first person up for it. Just keep working. Stay professional. Be authentic. Continue to
be humble.
Be humble and be
humble,
open.
sure.
Be open and be okay with, your respect the process and be okay with your process.
But I don't think even though, and I know you about to end this, Tawana, but I mean, that was the key word, to be humble. And I don't think people understand what to be humble means. We say it, we casually throw it out. Oh, just be a humble person. But really, honestly, to be humble is something that you don't even know you're doing, because it's a part of your character. Right. I shouldn't have to tell you that I'm humble, because I don't even know I'm being humble, because I just know what to do. Right. People should already see that in your character, that you're humble. Just saying, okay, I'm gonna fall back, but still don't, just because somebody said they don't want to work with you doesn't mean you stop supporting them.
And it doesn't mean you stop your vision.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because everybody's not gonna see your vision. Like, I don't have the look, bro. I don't have the look. Mm-hmm. Like, usually it's the clean cut, the Caesar, shave full beard, 6'5". I'm not neither one of that. I got a big forehead. I got locks. Like, so for me, this journey is entirely different. Like, this is just like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do because it's me and all of the Jackson I got. I'm cool with it because I've resolved it myself. This is what I want to do. And once you find something that you want to do, it doesn't feel like work. You do it because you want to do it. Like, thank God the pandemic happened and new content. I ain't have to recycle any pictures. Right. A lot of people couldn't say that. So I'm thankful for that. Like, I'm trying to say, you stay within your path, you take care of your business, mind your business, do your homework, you'll be fine. Like, it's what it is. Everything is for everybody, everything is for you, but what's for you is yours, and nobody can take it from you. That's what it is.
Facts. I think that that is extremely important, because at the end of the day, I want to touch on something you said, Nathaniel, when you was like, you don't have to tell people that you're humble. It's just a part of who you are. It's just equivalent to going around telling people that I'm pretty. So equivalent going, I dress nice. People will already see that about you. You don't have to tell them. Because if you have to convince people that you are, then you probably are not. Right.
Yeah. Right. I'm like, it's like I'm telling a narrative about who I'm not. Like, what? Why are you telling me this? Like, okay.
Right. So definitely, in the name of being, transparent, you all had amazing points. And I definitely appreciate you all for joining in the topic. There's a lot of stuff that we did not get to, and I know what I said, but here we are, almost 90 minutes later. So probably the new timeline for the show is probably just gonna be 90 minutes. And that's just,
what about next week?
This is where we go with. So I'm gonna tell you what we. Well, this is true.
We could do next week. I'm with the smoke. I'm out here right now. I'm under the street light trying to engage in this conversation here because I gave my word. So I'm showing my sincerity. You feel me? Show them my sincerity.
There will be a part 2 to this, but just under a different topic. We're going to be talking about business marketing, which kind of ties into this right here. Ashley Walker, between Ashley and Nyemade. Yes?
Nyemade, yeah, Nyemade.
Honey.
You gotta let that N roll off your tongue. Nyemade.
It's not it's Nyemade. Nyemade.
It's just Nyemade.
Nyemade. Gotcha. Nyemade. Like head and shoulders, knees, toes. Nyemade. Okay, gotcha. So yeah, that's gonna be one of our topics. So you know what? I haven't scheduled that yet. So maybe you guys can come back on and join with that. I'll give you the date on it if you're available. Let's do it. So if you guys can, there were a couple of questions in the chat that we did not get to. If you guys want to go in and address that when this is over, that'd be awesome. I guess I have to keep the subtopics down so that we can have time to address some of these comments. Otherwise, people are not going to tune in because we're ignoring them. So in the name of transparency, just to sum everything up, definitely be humble. Nobody should have to tell you to be humble. As far as being transparent, just make sure when you start your brand out, with what people want you people to know about you. Switching it up. Every ninth inning is not cool because you lose followers. We're forever evolving, and that is okay. But I think for me, overall, because I think I let you guys do a lot of the talk, and I think for me overall, being transparent to me is just make sure that you are authentic to yourself and you are authentic to your brand. That does not mean that you have to tell all of your business. That's not what transparency means. You tell people what they need to know about you in order to support you. You know what I mean? I think we lost Kavah. Sorry, Kavah.
He was probably getting on the train.
Okay.
Went out.
Yeah, because we're still dealing with this blackout over here. But anyway,
right.
So definitely be transparent. And another thing that we kind of touched on, but we didn't really touch on is what's your brand? Be you, do you. Be you, do you. Be you and do you. And people will follow you for who you are,
right,
and what you're selling.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be a product or an idea or a lifestyle, just be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And people will follow. And you're not going to match up with everybody. You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. Some people like coffee, and that's okay. That's okay. But as an industry, we can still support each other, even though we have different views. And some people, you just can't support. And some people can't support you, and that's okay. You have to learn how to be okay with stuff and move on, and let's squash the beef where beef don't belong. Okay. So anyway, let's wrap it up. You guys make sure you say bye to everybody. Tell them where they can follow you. Inbox me that too, because I want to make sure I put it on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, guys, you can follow me on Instagram, hair by Nathaniel _Jaye. Facebook, it is Nathaniel Jaye hair. Just Google Nathaniel Jaye, and all great, wonderful things are gonna come up. And you're just gonna enjoy all the pictures, and it's many multitudes of pictures, and every now and soon again, you're gonna catch me writing articles in Queen Size Magazine after I heal. I had a little slip, but I'm getting back into the habit of things. But yeah, and always feel free to inbox me about any hair care needs. If you have any questions about extensions or why my edges ain't growing, why my hair falling out, I'm your man.
Nathaniel, do you like my pink hair?
I do. I thought it was pink. Is it pink or fuchsia?
It's a pink and purple ombre braid.
Oh, magenta-less. Living in color is always wonderful.
Oh, good. It matches my lips.
Yeah,
I love it. Y'all gotta come on.
And I am Ashley Walker, Miss BU Do You. So you can catch me at Miss BU Do You. That's MSBEYOUDOYOU.com and at Miss BU Do You on all social platforms. You guys may be seeing me tag and talk about AJ Michelle. That's still my brand. It's going to be like the enterprise of everything. So as I start slowly incorporating, like, what's this AJ Michelle? What's this? You're gonna slowly see me do like a rebranding. So that is all still me, but it's going to like house several different things. So stay tuned for
Girl, I was wondering who that was.
You was wondering?
Who is this
Yes.
person? And I meant to ask you that.
You remember the conversation? Look, a little transparency. You remember the name conversation back and forth about like my enterprises?
Yes.
About Ashley Walker Enterprises. We talked about that umbrella of what would house all of my stuff. Well, you guys will slowly see the birth of AJ Michelle, and it's going to go into AJ Michelle Beauty, AJ Michelle a fragrance. It's going to go into all these different things. And so Miss BU Do You is still there and strong because that will always be me. MissBUDoYou.com will be a part of AJ Michelle.
Nice.
Yes.
And I'm
fashion.
Nyemade Boiwu, but across all social media, I'm that African butterfly. That African, born in Liberia, butterfly. And that's on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. I have a new TikTok obsession. So I'm there a lot when I should be doing other things. I'm on TikTok. And yeah, just follow me. Like I said earlier when we were talking, I'm lifestyle. So if you follow me, if you go to my stories, prepare for a lot of little dots because I'm doing stories of silliness or my day or asking followers questions all day long. And then on my page, I usually am just posting cuteness and different things that I have going on. I'm always trying to advocate body positivity, mental health, gender equality, racial equality. If you want to hear someone on a soapbox about something, just come on over to my page. You'll find me hyping about something I feel strongly about. So hopefully, and you can always DM me as well. I will engage in conversation about pretty much anything, but especially social justice stuff and reality television.
So Kavah has a website. It's Gentleman's Curb, that's CURB.com. His Facebook is Kavah King. Instagram, he has Kavah the King and Gentleman's Curb. I'll make sure I post the links in the YouTube channel. So you guys click on the links, follow them, see what they're up to, see how transparent they are being or not being. You guys know me, Tawana Blassingame on Facebook, Queen Size Magazine across all social media channels, LinkedIn, Instagram. I'm not on TikTok. And
get on there before they end it.
No, thank you. No,
it's so funny.
But no, thank you.
To a dance
you will find your people.
But no, thank you.
That's why it's addictive. You find your people and then
Absolutely not.
God, it's so hilarious.
Absolutely not. I'll see y'all on Instagram. Oh. Well, no, I won't see you on Instagram. Sheena will see you on Instagram. So yeah, Queen Size Magazine. Website is queensizemagazine.com. Make sure you subscribe to us. Make sure you get the magazine. All of these are the Queen QSM team, actually. I just, sleep with me, just realized that. Yeah. So anyway, make sure you guys come back next week. Next week, we are going to be talking about next week, Thursday, which is the 13th. I know the date now, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are going to be talking about self-shooting versus booking photographers. When do you know which to do which? That's what we're going to be talking about. So come back here next week, Thursday. We will be back. Guys, thank you so much. You all are amazing in your own individual ways. And I love you all equally. So good night.
I was gonna say,
well, I do have a favorite, but I'm not gonna tell you who it is.
I won't tell.
You all are my favorite.
Just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. We don't want to upset anybody.
Don't want rejection.
But that person know who they are. I'm just saying.
Right. I know.
Like my mother be like, my favorite is whoever I'm talking to.
Right in front of me right now.
Yeah.
Right. So thank you everybody for tuning in, whether you watch the live or you watch the rerun. It will be up here. And we appreciate you. Love and support each other. Good night, everybody.
Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.